Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new YouTube episode of myself, Faye Channing, a channeler who is here to share some messages that have been dropping into my field and my awareness to share with you all today. And it's been so interesting how messages can really show up and they can appear, and sometimes it's not the right time for them to land into the collective or to share out into the public. And today I woke up and it was my guides were like, yes, you need to get this out. And the first thing I really want to talk about as message number one is the fact that Donald Trump is going to die. And I know that's quite a big statement to say, but it has been in my field since the very beginning of February. And my guides have been telling me constantly that he's going to die, he's going to die. And as I've tapped into his energy field, and I'm not someone who watches the news, by the way, I choose not to keep my channel clear. But as I tap into his energy, there is no energy. And this is the whole point. You know, he is losing power, he's losing energy. And that's to do with many, many different reasons, is that he is no longer suited or able to hold the power to be executing the events that he is. So what my guys have told me, at least at the very beginning when they spoke to me, they said, at least by 2027, he'll be gone. But interestingly enough, I felt that this message had left the field. And only the last couple of days, it started to come back in. And as I tap into that and I feel into that in this moment in time, it's very, very interesting because it feels quite soon. It does feel quite soon. I'd probably say the next 6 months is what my guides are telling me. And it's going to be quite an interesting one because the way he is going to die, the shooting came up first of all. But then I also feel like there's going to be, let's just say, an inside job. Let's just say that, of some sorts. And I keep seeing as I'm remote viewing, you know, something going into his drink or something being spiked or along the lines of, or they just don't know how this has happened. And I think there is a lot of, let's say, multi-dimensional work happening here to allow this event to happen. It's not just something that is just being planned from what we say is the elite. There's a lot going on to try and move this forward. You know, I'm not for and against anything. I'm very neutral on my channel. I'm just sharing what I'm being told. So that's really interesting. And that's probably the biggest message I want to bring on here. But as always, I want to chat about some other things and tapping into the earth, which earth is a very, very big channel. And as the earth is going through her own very much rebirth at the moment, it's very important to share how that's all unfolding. And there is going to be a lot of volcanic activity, especially in the month of April and moving onwards, because we are in the fire horse year and we're tapping into, obviously, the fiery energy of Aries. And the reason why this volcanic activity is happening is because of the anger that she's been holding and suppressing, that it's starting to come up, it's starting to show itself, it's starting to allow, you know, that energy just to surge out of earth and come out and just be renewed, which is so beneficial for her and her energy, but also us. So we are going to see an increase in volcanic activity, especially when we're working with, like I've said before in a previous video, the Earth's core and rock formations and everything that comes into that space. And when I tapped into that a bit more, and message number 3 for you guys here to share is that actually there's something really beautiful that's starting to happen with the Earth, that there are sacred places or sacred energetic points that are going to be new, that are going to appear. Now, we're not going to know that these are sacred and energetic until we feel the call to go there. And it's really interesting because, you know, we have all these listed places in the world that are sacred and they're very much high energy points that people go and visit. That's actually going to change. That's actually going to change because as she's going through her rebirth, her frequency will change and those points will start to move. And the reason why they're moving is because new sacred sites on the planet will appear to hold a new frequency for us to tap into to obviously move forwards in this really poignant time in our history of where we are tapping into this new energy and we are remembering where we've come from. And we actually need to start listening to that. And we will only navigate these new sites through feeling. It's not going to be on a blog. It's not going to be, someone might say, oh, this is a sacred place. But actually, if you don't feel that, then don't listen to that. It's not that we're going to start listening to others to navigate where that is for us. But because we're moving into more of the heart consciousness and feeling and listening to what feels right for us and who we are, this is also rewriting history as well, and that's a really important step for us to take, because actually so many historical events aren't real. So we're rewriting the script in so many levels, this masculine power, elite power in the governments and high profile jobs is going to change massively, massively. And a lot of us are working on that, let's just say, to shift that. And we also have the earth. She's very much going through her own rebirth. She is very much about shifting the anger energy through volcanic activity, and she's also sharing and providing new energy points in the earth as sacred sites as we move into this new frequency. And it's really interesting because when we start to move into that, I shared this message, I think, back in, gosh, when was it? 2025 or maybe 2024, where there's going to be like new plant species appearing. And this is what we're going to start to see, is we're going to start to see new species, species of plants, animals, because we're coming into a new frequency of these energy points on the planet. And it's really interesting because not everyone is going to see that. And the reason for that is because it depends on your vibrational energy and how you are operating as an energetic field. And that's not to say that, there's a lot of talk about people getting left behind as we moved into this year, and you're always where you're meant to be, right? There's no right or wrong. There's no, someone is higher than you because they're experiencing certain things, but there's just that energetic connection that some people will have, which we'll start to see all this newness come in. I think just on a different side note, I actually want to share is that, with this fire horse energy, things are going to be moving quite rapidly. And I think there is many modalities and many healing practices that require this, integration and this, let's just say, time and whatnot. And actually, this is all going to shift. We're shifting so rapidly that actually people are going to move forwards quite quickly. And I think there needs to be a change in actually how we work as practitioners and as healers. Is the guidance I've been told to share here today, is that, don't always do what you've always done. And the energy is very different. There's still a lot of performance happening in the space, in the field. And you can feel it and you can see it, and it feels really authentic. It doesn't feel authentic even. And it's sticky, it's messy, and it's very hard to show up in that field sometimes when we're experiencing, our network showing up in this way. And it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's like, we all go through our own processes, and I totally get that. But actually, like, healers need to, like, another message. So, like, just the last message is that healers need to start to facilitate more than trying to fix with this one modality. And that facilitation is very much needed. And that's a very, very open space, because a lot of people are going to be waking up to quite deeply rooted sacred power. And they are going to realize who they are and where they've come from and what they can do. this is a very, very big awakening that's going to be happening in the collective. And if some healer or practitioner is trying to just, shove a modality down someone's throat and say, this is the way we're going to do things, when actually that's not what they need, then the person that is facilitating the healing, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. People need space being held for them. Allow yourself to step back, hold that person, because we have got ancient timelines showing up. And this has been happening for, the last, I'd probably say 18 months now anyway. This remembrance, but it feels like it's coming in very strong. And we need to be open when we're working with people and their energy. It can't just be, this is what we're going to do because actually this is what I know. It's actually being open to the individual and allowing them to experience themselves, because in the energetics of the world and in the collective field at the moment, it's very, very heavy, and it's suppressing people's natural sacred power of remembering, where they've come from. Because actually that was another message that I was meant to share, so thank you, that's come in. Like our multi-dimensional selves, like many of us haven't just arrived here. We've come here for a reason, to help shift the energy and to raise the frequency of the planet. And we haven't just been here for one lifetime, and that's the thing. We have come from different lifetimes. We've come in with different gifts and power, and now everything's coming together to say, okay, let's go in with all of this to really start shifting things. And those people need that space. They need that space to explore that without judgment, not saying they need to heal from something. It's a very different script now. But it's been lovely to catch up with you all. And it's such interesting times, but just really, as a last bit of guidance to share with you all, is to stay in your body, feel your heart, go by feeling what feels right for you. Start being resourceful for yourself, start to be more independent for yourself. The less we can rely on the grid, the less we can rely on, many things outside of ourselves, the stronger we are within. And that's how we form community as well. Sending so much love. There are so many beautiful things that are happening in this world right now, even though there's so much going on in the news and in the field. But allow the play to play out. Stay in your body, do what feels right for you. And it's not ignoring, and it's not dismissing, and it's not all this human bypassing of emotions that gets thrown around. It's actually just listening to yourself and what is good for you, and trusting that is more important than, altering what we actually feel is right to do because someone else said so. So I'm sending so much love to you. And if you resonate with this video, like and subscribe. It would be great to have you on the journey, just to share these messages from my channel and the messages that come through that feel really important to share out into the world today. Sending so much love, and speak soon.